So, good morning, ma'am, and good morning, classmates. I am Meilsh o Eronico, your second reporter for the chapter 5, which is all about marine orientation. For today, my discussion is all about types of sewing machine. So, before that, allow me first to read my learning objectives. So, at the end of the lesson, the student must be able to describe the key components and functions of various sewing machine, identify the different types of sewing machine based on their function and uses, and lastly, promote appreciation for the importance of a sewing machine in crafting and production. So, what is a sewing machine? So, a sewing machine are an equipment which is very indispensable in any sewing activity. So what do you mean by indispensable? So when we say indispensable, so it is very essential or important in a sewing activity. Why or nga no? It is because without sewing machine, so we can make new product or new items. Just for example, clothes, mat, or something nga kanang ma-turn into a new product with the use of sewing machine. So important ang sewing machine kay without sewing machine, so we can't be able to produce new clothes or something, mga essential things nga magamit everyday lives. For example, like mga towels, like mga bead sheets, or sa pamandira, mga kortina nga ginagamit nato sa atong homes. So, it is a textile machine used to sew, stitch fabrics and other materials together with thread and needle. So, of course, when we talk also sewing machine, so apil lang yun ana or danag yun ana niya ang needle ug ang fabric, kay dili man pud mo function ang sewing machine without the needle o ang thread. So, I will be going to discuss the different types of sewing machine. And first type of sewing machine is the lock stitch sewing machine. So, what is a lock stitch sewing machine? So, a lock stitch sewing machine is usually used in homes and sometimes in school. This is also called domestic sewing machine. So it is run by foot and may also be converted to an electric power machine. So I know that you are very familiar with this type of sewing machine because mao gyud ni ang mostly or commonly makita nato. It's either sa home or sa ato bang nga school. Maybe some of you here naka-try na og use aning types of sewing machine. So also ang gamiton pud ani ang lock stitch sewing machine is it is run by foot, but karon is ni-improve naman ang technology, so sometimes also dili na kayo siya known. Ang mostly ginagamit na pud sa mga dressmaker or tailoring shop is kadto ng mga power machine or electric mga machine. So I have here a video presentation showing how to properly use the lock stitch sewing machine.
Put the fabric under the foot, do a couple of stitches, lift your needle and the foot, move the fabric back to the start, lower the foot and stitch over the top, and that will lock your stitch.
So the second type of the sewing machine is the high-speed lock stitch sewing machine. So what do you think is the purpose of the high-speed lock stitch sewing machine? So a high-speed lock stitch sewing machine is sometimes called straight stitching machine or industrial sewing machine. So it has automatic lubrication and is used by tailors and dressmakers. So ug naa ang lock stitch sewing machine which is manually used sa siya, na napud ang high-speed lock stitch sewing machine. So high-speed lock stitch sewing machine is operated na siya through electricity. So one of example of high-speed lock stitch sewing machine is kanang naa sa ato nga lab. So usa na mo na ang example of high-speed lock stitch sewing machine. So here are the videos showing the high-speed lock stitch sewing machine.
So smarter, not harder, with our computerized direct drive lock stitch machine. Its intelligent sewing modes, like automatic thread cutting, needle stop position control, stitch counting, and reverse sewing.
Third types of sewing machine is the overaging sewing machine. So what comes into your mind when you makadungog mo og overage sewing machine? Of course, so ang purpose gid niya or ang purpose gid sa this type of sewing machine is to make edges and clothes baron or sa atong towels or atong mga bedsheets. So as you can see here in the picture, so no, mo ni siya na ang iyaha nga edging. So mo ni ang purpose sa this kind of sewing machine, to make edges, no? So it's overaging sewing machine. So other companies called it small machine. So it finishes the raw edges of the pattern for construction. So overaging pod, so maybe siya pod ang mo finish sa usa ka a new clothes kay butangan man na siya og mga edges. So here are the videos showing the overaging sewing machine.
Here's how to finish the raw edges of your fabric using an overcast foot, saving you hundreds of dollars on a serger. My machine has a few overcast stitches. This red one is the one I use most of the time. I'll switch to S2 for the red stitch. I'm moving my width to a 5 because I like a wider zigzag. The tension depends on the fabric, but mine is somewhere in the middle. So let's say we just sewed a seam and we don't want it to fray. We're going to take our overcast foot and line that little black ledge up to the edge of the fabric. And this will sew an overcast stitch right on the edge of our fabric, preventing it from fraying. You can also join two pieces of fabric together while finishing the raw edges with just an overcast stitch alone. The overcast stitch acts as a 2-in-1 and it feels pretty secure. Next we have the little blue stitch, which is a slant over edge stitch. And this one is great for stretchy fabric. So this also joins fabric edges together and gives you a really nice stretchy seam. And last we have the double overlock stitch. This one is great for slightly stretchy fabrics or medium to heavyweight woven fabrics. And this feels super secure. I hope this helped.
Another type of sewing machine is the embroidery sewing machine. So what do you mean by the embroidery sewing machine? So embroidery sewing machine is used in making fancy stitches and in making different kinds of embroidery stitches on fabrics for the Barong Tagalog, pillowcases, linen, handkerchiefs, and other novelty items. So we want i-design sa imuhang t-shirt baron or something, sa imuhang mga towel, ang imong butangan og mga names. So mo na ang embroidery sewing machine, mo na ang iyahang usa ka function. So as you can see here in the picture, so na diri ang iyahang nga desired nga present diri sa murag gamay nga screen ang desired nga design. It's either para sa usa ka customer. So of course with the help of the evolving technology na, so mao na siya, so mao na ni ang iyahang output. So kung unsay makita nimo sa screen, so of course mao po na ang mugawas ari sa imuhang output or final nga design or desired nimo nga design. So embroidery sewing machine po is pwede ka maghimo og imuhang own nga customization. So here are the sample video of a embroidery sewing machine. Another type of sewing machine is the button holer sewing machine. So, unsa man po ni ang button holer sewing machine? So, from the word button holer. So, this is used in making buttonholes on garments. So of course, it is very understandable naman, no? So ang kini nga type of sewing machine is mao ni siya ang mohimo og buttonholes sa atong mga sinina, sa atong mga pants, sa atong mga jackets. So this sewing machine is siya ang mogama og mga buttonholes. So I know you are very I know it is very understandable to you. So here are the sample video of how to properly use the buttonhole sewing machine. Another type also of sewing machine is the button attachment sewing machine. So of course, og naay button holer, napoy button attachment. So this is used in attaching buttons to the garments. Of course, kung ang button holer, siya ang mugama og mga holes or mga bangag, si button attachment sewing machine pod is siya pod ang machine nga mo-attach sa mga button sa imong nga clothes. So here are sample videos of a button attachment sewing machine. So another type of a sewing machine is a double needle sewing machine. So a double needle sewing machine is used in the construction of the different kinds of clothing, especially for the inseam, outseam, and side seam. So, what's my double needle sewing machine example? So, one of the example I can provide to you sa double needle sewing machine is kanang bitong kabantay mo sa pockets. So, di ba ang pockets na to is na may duha katahi sa isig kakilid niya. So, mao na ang purpose sa double needle sewing machine. Makita na to dira ang inseam, outseam ug ang side seam. So sa normal lang nga mga sewing machine, so makabantay man gud ta nga murag single ra ang iyahang ang tahi. But kini nga double, from the word double, so duha ang iyahang tahi ani. For example, you present ani isa mga pockets. Mo na example sa double needle sewing machine. So I have here a video showing the double needle sewing machine. So the last type of sewing machine is the bar tacking sewing machine. So this is used in the reinforcing the opening and closing of the pockets. So I have also here a video showing a bar tacking sewing machine. So before we end up to our discussion, so do you have any questions about our discussion for today? Again, what are those different types of sewing machine? First, we have a lock stitch sewing machine. First, we have a lock stitch sewing machine. Second is the high-speed lock stitch sewing machine. The third is the over-aging sewing machine. The fourth is the embroidery sewing machine. Fifth is the buttonhole sewing machine. Sixth is the button attachment sewing machine. The double needle sewing machine. And last ultimately is the bar tacking sewing machine. So, in conclusion, understanding the different types of sewing machines is essential for selecting the right tool to achieve optimal results in various sewing projects. So of course, if magamit jud ka og exact nga sewing machine sa pag-make ni more pagama sa usa ka product or sa ka garments, of course mas mapadali gid ang imong trabaho. So each type of machine, from manual to computerized, is designed to meet specific needs, whether for basic stitching, heavy-duty materials, embroidery, or industrial use. By recognizing their features, functions, and applications, you can make informed decisions that enhance both efficiency and the quality of your work. Ultimately, the right sewing machine empowers creativity and productivity, catering to diverse skills, levels, and project of requirements. So that ends my discussion, and I hope you gain new insights and knowledge about this topic. So thank you, and God bless us all.